Welcome back to the Life Writing Show. I'm your host, CJ, aka Mr. Life Writing. With me for this episode is Coach T of Fyt2Live in observance of Women's Small Business Month. What's going on, Coach?
What's going on, CJ? Thank you so much for inviting me, King. I really, really appreciate the opportunity to connect with you today.
Absolutely. Hey, look, I've been so excited, amped up this morning. I could hardly wait. I'm like, I'm having Coach T. Coach T is coming onto my show. I got to say this right quick, right? I just recently started following you on Instagram, and your messages, the way you present your information, it's just, it hits you it in the
Ah,
core. It goes straight in. It's very clear, concise, but
yes.
most importantly, like I said, it's so inspiring.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, King.
I was about to say, Miss Queen, you keep doing your thing. Keep doing your
Thank
thing.
you.
So look,
Thank you.
let's get into it. Let's get into it. And
Okay. Okay.
before I do, right quick, that backdrop, the RV, the camper, the wooded area, that is freaking. Where are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. I don't mind you asking at all. So I am actually in Chesterfield, Virginia, in a beautiful Pocahontas State Park, which is really, really close to Fort Gregg Adams. Now, most people don't know the Fort Gregg Adams is a very, very old military installation, but it used to be called Fort Lee. And a very long time ago, I shipped out to boot camp from Fort Lee. But this year, I have a very, very close connection to Fort Greg Adams because
Uh-huh.
this year marks 75 years of the Women Integration Act into the armed services. And I had the opportunity to speak at Fort Greg Adams to commemorate and MC that event. And so it really brought it full circle from boot camp all the way back to now being able to speak and celebrate women being integrated in the military 75 years. So super grateful to be here, but this is absolutely my happy place.
Oh, it's making me happy too. I wish I was there. Uh, Something I need to consider for some of my episodes going forward, some real time on site stuff. Ah, so
Yes.
Coach T, there's so much to know, so much to learn about you, but I just want to start with just a simple question or a simple statement, I should say. Tell us
Okay.
a little bit about yourself. Who is Coach T?
Mm. Oh man, who is Coach T? So I am a leader. I am a real talking, direct speaking, actionable, executing, but with love kind of
Right.
person. And I truly, truly believe in giving absolutely everything and leaving everything on the field. And so I am a 100% disabled veteran turned 100% entrepreneur. And I currently love the opportunity to teach business and mindset coaching to women entrepreneurs, women veterans, and even a few good men,
Okay.
and so that's who I am today. But man, it's been quite the journey. I truly, truly am grateful to be here today, standing because I wasn't supposed to be.
Wow. I hear you. Oh man, that's awesome. And just your spirit, your vibe. It's just to see you standing there it's just so picturesque. I have to keep
Oh,
going back to where you are and how it
I
looks.
figured I'd give y'all some scenes today. I figured I'd give
Oh,
you some scenes.
what you did it. So fit to live.
Yes.
You're just so motivational. You're a coach, entrepreneur, just all of those things. Mentor. Fit to live specifically though. Like how did it come about? How did your business come about?
Yeah. Oh man. So first of all, Fit to Live was my fight to live.
Mm.
That's what it was, and so that's the reason for the why. Everyone asks me, why is it not an I? Well, first of all, that's whack, right? That was already taken, so that, right? But then, second of all, it definitely had two purposes. Fit to Live certainly was born out of my fight to live. I I was injured pretty bad in the military, and as a result, I had a brain injury and had to learn to walk and talk again. And it was a long journey. The doctors in the military told me that I would never be able to pick up my child again, who at that time was 3. He's 18 now. And
Okay.
so that gives you the, this was 15 years ago. And so they told me I'd never be able to pick up my child again because of my injuries and the nerve damage and all the things. And this little spicy Cajun girl from New Orleans, I was just like, well, first of all, who tells a mother that kind of? I don't know if I can cuss on here, so I'm not. But I'm just telling you, that's what I said to a superior ranking officer. And so,
Okay.
of course, already I was like, in trouble. But it didn't matter at that point, right? You just told me I'd never be able to lift my child again, and so it started a fire in me. That fire. Long story short, it just keeps me
Hmm.
going today. That
Wow.
fire is how Fit to Live was born. I had to rehabilitate myself. The army was giving me occupational rehab, meaning she is not going to get better, so help her to get comfortable kind of rehab. And I was just like, I'm too damn young for y'all to treat me like this. And so
Right.
I decided to give myself actual strength coaching and stuff. So I
Okay.
asked the Army to pay for me to become a certified personal trainer. So I taught myself on the Army's dime to rehabilitate my body because they were not. And then after that, everyone said, "Oh my gosh, T, like teach me, teach me, teach me." And so
Right. Right.
fit
I
to,
want some of that. Give me some of that. Yeah.
Fit to
Wow.
Live, that's literally where it came about, and that should tell you everything, because that means that back then I was just a personal trainer and a nutritionist. That's what I did.
Mm.
I went to school, I got my certifications, and I was just pouring into people. Everything else came after.
Wow. No, that's whoa. That is one hell of a story, to say the least. So you just delved out a few things about Fit to Live, obviously, but what are some of its like the core mission sets of it? What do you do? How do you guide people through this thing?
Yeah, the main thing that we do is we teach women of color specifically.
Hmm.
We educate women veterans, to fully tap into their potential when it comes to their mindset. Okay. Um, if you want to tap into any type of change in your life, a mindset shift is required.
Okay.
And most of us go around and we first say we want to do something, and then we immediately go into actions. And so that leaves the mindset out of it, or at least the appearance of it. What I do and what my coaches and I partner to do is we like to teach everyone that mindset is in everything you do. So you have to be intentional, right? And so when we teach that to people, then they see that this is not just for your business. This is not just for your relationship. This is for your life. It's a USB plug. But there
Mm.
is a mindset shift that is required. And so when we realize that we are in charge of that mindset shift, we
Hmm.
take the responsibility out of the hands of everyone else, and we put it back to us. And you know what happens, CJ, when we decide that it's our fault, right?
Oh,
When we are responsible, what do? We go fix it, right?
yes. Yes.
We go
Yes.
fix it. And so those are our core mission sets. We truly believe in developing the mindset so that everything else will follow. And we do that for every woman that is mission driven, success driven, looking, searching, right? And truly overwhelmed with indecision in their business, in their life. They're
Mhm.
stuck and not knowing why. I'm that driver that really loves to make sure that they can get past the emotions of their circumstances and get towards that action.
Got it. No, woman, you got me so revved up over here. It's I no, I'm seriously revved up. It's a nice looking day outside, and I can hardly wait to get out there. Hearing you convey that, and also peering past you into your backdrop, it sets the stage. But You
Yes.
touched this mindset, the success of it, right? I was going to ask you. You just answered this. You just addressed what I wanted
Yeah.
to ask next. But it being effective, right? How does one effectively achieve it? I know that the mindset has to be set. That's the first thing, right? But just from your vantage point, can you expound on that just a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can. So thanks for asking.
Hmm.
So I think overall that a lot of us have this idea that mindset is just something that is just out of your reach and you can't do anything to change it. And
Mm,
so um, as a result, most of us just accept who we are. We accept the shoes. Um, we accept the shoes that we're in, and we say
mm,
these are the only shoes that we could ever have,
right.
right? And so it's cold, it's hot, we still got these damn shoes on, and we've never taken it off, right? And what mindset success is willing to say, you know what, there may be a possibility that there's another shoe out there that's comfortable for me, but I've got to be willing to take this shoe off or at least try another one on so I can have a comparison purpose, right? And so, mindset success is your willingness to engage in a continued relationship with your thoughts. That's it.
Mm,
That's what it is. It's
mm,
the biggest thing. You've got to be willing, right? And so we don't think of our thoughts as something that we have to have a continued relationship with because we've just let the thoughts flow in our and like the sea and particles in the sea. You know how many of those there are? A lot. That's how many thoughts we have. Yet every now and then we grab one and say, "Oh my gosh, this one has to be true," right? And so the mindset success here is realizing that just like all of those you let pass away, you could this one
mhm,
too, right? It's realizing that you could have a relationship similar to a marriage or having a child, right? You're going to have
right.
ups and downs with that child, that relationships. You're going to have bad thoughts, good thoughts. You're going to have crazy thoughts, you're going to have sad thoughts. You're going to have
Mhm,
all kinds of thoughts, right? The willingness to ride the roller coaster of those thoughts is everything. You've got to be willing to do this. And so here is two ways in my suggestion, I'm sorry, in my opinion,
uh-huh,
of the best way that you can really focus on what you need to do in order to be willing to have that relationship, right? The first thing is, baby, check those thoughts. They are not the boss of you, right?
mm,
They're not the boss of you. You've just let them be the boss of you.
wow.
And so you've got to challenge those thoughts. It's very simple. You know, the next time you say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I'm so stupid." You've got to say, "Wait. Is that a fact or is that my fact?"
Wow.
Right? Baby, listen, they different, okay? Just because fact is on the end of it don't mean it's the same. Is it a fact
Is
or
it
is it
a
my fact?
I the
Right?
way you're framing the way you're framing all of this. I mean, it's I told everyone you're right here, clear, concise, and a word you used earlier, and at least this is the way I just grabbed it, attained it, the way it
Sure,
moved
sure,
me.
please.
I can see it in a way, right? To make it, as we use the word we use a lot in the military, to make it actionable. I can see exactly how my
Yes.
mindset, the relationship, how you said it's a continuous thing. I've never heard anyone
That's
put
what I'm
it
talking about. Was I the first? Was that
that way.
that's what I'm talking about.
No, no, yes, and I've listened to a lot of coaches in various capacities, right? The way you broke that down and kind of
Yes.
shelved that out, I'm kind of like, oh, I had to take a couple notes just then. I do that all the time. Like, I take my notes, I go back, I review what have you. So one thing I do want to make sure I have right, the fit to live, yep, fit2live.com. Yeah, I'm going to have all of this in the write up, of course, but folks got to get some of this. Folks got to reach
Yes.
out and tap into people like you who are trusted and tried. It's you're proven, right? You've done something. You believe in it. you've been through something. That's
Mm,
first and foremost, so you can personally attest to what you are literally talking about. This just didn't come
mm.
from a freaking textbook, and I'm not taking anything away from formal formal education, right?
I
But
understand.
something deriving from something that someone literally and physically endured, and coming out and presenting something like this that's going to help people, help the masses move forward in
Yes.
this kind of way.
Yes.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
So, coach. Lastly, I always do this, right? Especially with coaches. You got to give us some words of wisdom. Like what would you leave the people with respect to all of this?
Yes, yes. Well, thank you for that. So before I answer that, let me make sure I finish that other thought that I had up there, right? Because I
Yes,
said
yes.
I was going to give you guys two, right? So the
Please,
first
yes.
one was challenge your thoughts. The first one was, is it a fact or my fact, right? And listen, Chris loved that one so much. He took it to church, he passed out the plate, and he sent me home. But I'm going to give y'all one more, okay? I'm going to give y'all one more. And that is, after you say, is it a fact or my fact? Once you've determined that that was just your fact, you've
Mhm.
got to be willing to ask yourself, what do I want to be a fact instead? What do I want to think instead? Right? This is the opportunity to create who you want to be instead of sitting in who you were. And if you don't do that, right, that's a mindset shift, that's a mindset perspective. And most of the time, we don't see that simply because we are still focusing on what happened, right? We have to say, what do we want to happen instead? And we got to answer the question, okay? And so when you actually answer the question, you've got to do it, right? No matter what. Self
Right.
development, whatever you've got to do, podcast, mentoring, coaching, whatever. Okay, so that was the last part. And then on the way out the door, I'd say if I had to say anything, it is
Hmm.
simply the only limit you have in this world
Hmm.
is you.
Right.
Is you. Breathe that in. Just
Yeah.
breathe it in when you can accept it and not just say, yep, yep, you're right. I know I'm the limit. No, breathe it in,
That's
accept
right.
it. Because once you accept it,
Yes.
now what are you going to go do about it?
Coach T, again, just thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for inviting me and thank you for spotlighting Women's Small Business Month. Um, Especially being a man, right? That's not something that you had to
Yes.
do, but it was something that your heart led you to do. And I am very grateful to
Yes.
you for being someone that we can rely on to help us to continue to move forward.
I try to tell my guys we got to be more conscientious about things like that. That is
Yes.
relatable, right? So why not
Yes.
promote? Why not, inspire people of opposite sex, opposite
Yes.
whatever, right?
Yes.
To do something as long as it's for the greater good, right? And again,
Yes.
not to sound
Yes.
corny, but those are just true words. Yeah,
You don't sound corny at all, King. I appreciate you continuing to serve, right? Thank you for your
absolutely.
service and your continued service.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thanks again, Coach T, and to the audience. Thanks for your continued support. And consider doing some life writing with me on the show. Remember, this is where information is shared in hopes to help you write the life you desire. Take care.